talking Hot Wheels as auto sales rev up. Let's go to the board here and take a look. Ford, Chrysler, and Fiat. Ford auto sales up 10% from November of last year. Ford itself brand up 7.1%. Lincoln sales down, however, 9.1%. They've really ceded to Cadillac and others there, but they're coming out with a new Super Bowl ad. You're going to see Abe Lincoln himself in the ad, perhaps benefiting from Steven Spielberg's film Lincoln out this year. Ford is actually going to build 11% more vehicles for the first quarter of 2013 than they did in 2012, so that's a good sign. Chrysler, November sales up 14%, best November since 2007. Fiat, huge boost there, up 123%. That's the largest year over year there. And GM, a little bit of a disappointment there, though. November sales up 3%. Truck sales there were lagging, increased competition with a lot of trucks. Cadillac, though, up. Where Lincoln's down, Cadillac's up 77%, Buick up 22%. Obviously, there was pent-up demand, Superstorm Sandy. Folks are coming out, and the auto industry looks to finish strong with a rise of 14.4 million sales by the end of the year. That would be up the highest, actually, since 2007. All right, we're going to talk some deals now with Greg Roumeliotis, a Reuters correspondent here. And there's a lot of deal making going on. We're going to put up on the board several deals that are happening. See, CSC to sell its credit services unit to Equifax, Saputo to buy Morningstar from Dean Foods. Others that we've talked about, Delta possibly getting a stake in Virgin Atlantic, ADM, Marianne Moretta there. But the first two in particular, these are kind of spin-off deals. What are we seeing here in terms of those?
Yeah, absolutely. There are carve-out deals, basically companies selling some unloved units, businesses, you know, either because they are non-core or they just want to raise some cash as well.
Okay.
And in both those instances, you have other strategic companies, other players in the space willing to pay top dollar. Previously this year, we have seen many of those kind of sales going to private equity.
Right.
Now, CSC is going to do very well. They're going to raise $1 billion basically by selling to Equifax. Dean Foods, which is the owner of Morningstar, they're going to get $1.45 billion from Saputo. So really good deals for them.
Okay, as we're looking at some of the stock now, CSC is up 3.5%. Equifax, like we showed it, being up 5%. And Saputo, which now gets a much larger footprint in this country, Canadian company in terms of dairy.
Yeah.
Morningstar, Friendship Cottage cheese, everybody knows that. And a lot of private label and generic brands, which is a huge business we talked about before on this show for that. So that sounds like a great deal for them.
For both sides. I mean, Dean Foods, the largest U.S. dairy company in the U.S., was in trouble. They're in the process of splitting up. And they found Saputo, which wants to expand in the U.S. in terms of manufacturing, distribution, but also its product offering, as you described. So it's kind of like a great deal all around, and you've seen the share reaction as well.
So for an M&A guy like yourself, this is a good time. Coming off of the election and whatever happens with the fiscal cliff, these companies are spending, you say, where before it was private equity, but these companies are laying off.
And in this case, and at least we know of one private equity firm, Apollo Global Management, that was going after Morningstar. It may indicate that companies, despite the uncertainty over the fiscal cliff, may be willing to spend more now on mergers and acquisitions, which would be encouraging because we had a rather poor year in terms of corporate M&A. So could things be picking up? Maybe a sign.
All right, that would be a good sign.
Yeah.
Greg Roumeliotis, thank you so much, Reuters correspondent. I'm going to move now by myself to the hot spot, and as I do, remember, check out the snaps on the bottom of the screen for more headlines of the day. HMA, Hospital Operator Health Management, they're fending off a 60 Minutes report last night that the doctors at their hospitals are encouraged to check patients in regardless of whether they need to be checked in or not, that they're perhaps converting them from the ER into hospital beds. The company is saying that there were disgruntled employees that were interviewed for this piece, and that their ER numbers are really on par with the national average, meaning that they're not making them check into beds overnight. Regardless, the stock of HMA is down 5.5% today. So we'll have to see. It sort of looks like an ongoing battle there as CBS came out with this report on 60 Minutes last night. I'm going to move now back to the market monitor and see what broader markets are doing. Let me get my tail here in line of my cord. We're sort of flat today. Manufacturing contracting during the month of November. Institute for Supply Management, ISM, saying the numbers fell in November. We were expected to expand. We had a couple of strong, actually weak months in the summer, and then we had a few strong months. November was expected to be a strong month. It wasn't. Broader market kind of reflecting that today. That's going to do it for today's Trading at Noon. Remember, follow us on Twitter at Reuters Insider and check out our YouTube channel, Reuters.com/Reuters TV. I'm Lisa Bernhard. This is Reuters.